amazing opening speech that reminded us that if youth cannot get a seat at the table, they will create their own. The Honorable Mark V. Nathanson emphasized the importance of forging connections and finding commonalities between different people, especially as a precursor to negotiation. And finally, we also had a performance from Indigenous youth who came together, and they reminded us to respect the land that we're from, especially as it is increasingly commoditized today. To get some participation in the room, are there any highlights that you all would like to share from day one? Raise a hand. Yes.
Yeah, thanks wonderful to be here. So for day one, one of the highlights was youth diplomacy and youth quality. I think we had a great opening. Thank you. I think we had a great opening ceremony and everything was so great. We have great panels as well, and we have some amazing shared experiences. I hope that everybody got to learn a lot as well, and that everybody gets to learn even more today. So thank you so much, Josephine. I think those are my key takeaways. And I moderated myself the Indigenous Youth panel, so we also learned a little bit more about how they live within their lands and their territories, and the connection to international platforms and diplomacy itself. So yeah, excited for today, everyone. Yay!
Thank you so much, Robbie. I mean, yesterday it truly was a wonderful day. We got to play some wheelchair basketball as well. I had never seen that before. It was a very fun, great start to the conference. So just in the interest of time, we are going to move on. It is my honor to introduce our first keynote speaker, the Austrian Consul General, Dr. Michael Postel. He has served in a wide variety of posts, formerly as Ambassador of Austria in Malaysia and Brunei Darussalam. He has been the head of the Department for Multilateral Economic Relations in the Austrian Foreign Ministry. He has also served as Austrian ambassador to Armenia, Georgia, Uzbekistan, and these are only a few of the positions he has held. We are truly honored to have him here today speaking and giving us our keynote introduction for day 2 of the International Youth Conference. Dr. Michael Postel, thank you so much for joining us today. It is now my great honor to invite him to share his opening keynote.
Josephine. Good morning to everyone. A warm welcome. I'm delighted to be here with you today. And I congratulate the 11th International Youth Conference at UCLA. I would like to thank the International Organization of Youth, UN Habitat, UNITAR, UNEP, Los Angeles County Department of Youth Development, UCLA, and every one of you who helped to organize this conference. This year's theme, Youth Shaping Global Development, is very relevant, even more so when many of us take the view that the world is at the crossroads due to multiple global challenges that we are facing today. When I first joined the diplomatic service more than 30 years ago, young people were not exactly at the center of diplomatic conversations. Diplomacy felt exclusive, sometimes distant, something formal, maybe even disconnected from the daily lives of ordinary citizens, especially young citizens. But today, diplomacy is different. Today, diplomacy is about you, about the young people. It is about your voices, your ideas, your energy, and most importantly, about your future. You are not just recipients of diplomatic outcomes. You are active participants. In fact, many of the best ideas driving global change today are not coming from traditional politicians. They are coming from civil society and they are more and more coming directly from young people who refuse to wait quietly on the sidelines. Europe understands this shift. It understands that addressing the challenges we face, a war in the Ukraine, an energy crisis, populism, climate change, or inequality, it requires empowering the youth, not just symbolically, but practically. Today, we know that young people must be central to creating solutions. Let me give you concrete examples of what Europe is doing to empower young people. Take Erasmus+. You might have heard about it. It's Europe's flagship youth exchange program, now running for 37 years. More than 15 million young Europeans have participated since its start, with over 1.3 million joining last year alone. It is not just about studying abroad. Erasmus participants consistently have a 23% lower unemployment rate 5 years after graduation. Think about that. Nearly a quarter more likely to be employed just by taking part in cultural exchange and education abroad. Erasmus Plus is Europe's strategic investment in youth potential. And it does not stop at education. We actively engage young people in political and social decisions. Take the European Youth Strategy, created with input from over 50,000 young Europeans. It genuinely shapes policies, from tackling youth unemployment, improving mental health support, to supporting digital startups run by young entrepreneurs. Today, innovation, economic growth, and digital transformation need the input of the young generation. In Portugal, for example, the government established youth parliaments to involve students directly in the legislative process. Young people from diverse backgrounds across the country present their proposals, debate them openly, and influence national policy discussions. Proposals made by these youth parliaments have shaped legislation. Portugal did not merely say, we value youth voices, it created a structured channel for those voices to be heard and acted upon. And Austria, my home country, set up local youth councils across cities and regions. These councils give young Austrians direct input into community decisions, from local environmental initiatives and public transportation improvement to education policy. Austrian politicians regularly meet with these youth councils, not just to listen politely, but to integrate their ideas into actionable policies. These initiatives are not symbolic. They are concrete evidence that Europe values youth perspectives. We do not merely talk about democracy and inclusion. We create structured, tangible avenues for young people to shape their societies actively and directly. And when young people speak clearly, politicians in Europe increasingly know they must listen and they must act. But let us zoom out to the global picture. Why are all these initiatives so important? Today, the world is at the crossroads, and the international community has collectively committed to the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. They range from eradicating poverty and ensuring quality education to taking urgent action against climate change. Europe is particularly ambitious with climate action, SDG 13. Under the European Green Deal, Europe aims to be the first climate neutral continent by 2050. It has already reduced emissions by roughly 30% since 1990, while growing economically. Europe has generated nearly 2 million new jobs in renewable energy sectors alone. This is not abstract. In Germany, a young climate activist named Luisa Neubauer mobilized hundreds of thousands through Fridays of Future, influencing policy debates and accelerating Germany's transition away from coal. In Sweden, Greta Thunberg sparked global awareness that pushed European politicians to raise climate targets significantly. But the reality is never black or white. And while Europe pushes hard for climate action, we must recognize other countries might face different realities. For developing nations, immediate priorities often center on economic development, job creation, infrastructure, poverty alleviation. A global study of 126 developing countries revealed that leaders ranked education, economic growth, and stable governance far above climate action. Not because they do not care, but because they must address immediate needs first. This creates tension, and diplomacy is about understanding that tension. So what is a realistic solution? This is where diplomacy has to become creative, collaborative, and empathetic. European nations realize they must financially and technologically support sustainable transitions in poorer regions. Last year, at the Global Climate Summit, Europe committed billions towards climate financing. But beyond money, Europe is actively partnering on renewable energy projects in Africa, India, and Latin America, providing both finance and technological transfer. Precisely so, economic development and climate action do not have to be at odds. And who is pushing diplomats to find better solutions? Young people like yourselves. Last year at COP, youth delegates from countries like Fiji, Uganda, and Indonesia stood up and demanded rich countries deliver climate finance that meets developing countries' economic realities. They demanded accountability, not charity, not vague promises, accountability. So let us come back and talk about your role. Diplomacy is not something reserved for career diplomats anymore. Today, when the world is at the crossroads, every time you engage across borders, join youth-led initiatives, or speak up on global issues, you are participating in diplomacy yourselves. But let's be honest, diplomacy can still feel frustratingly slow. Change feels slow. And yet, there is change, precisely because young people keep pushing. You demand honesty and sincerity. You demand fairness. You demand real action, not empty gestures. So here's what I would like you to do. Keep speaking up. Keep challenging. Keep demanding that older generations, people like myself, do better. You are not just future leaders, you are leaders already today. I want to close with a quote from Antonio Guterres, the United Nations Secretary General. He said, "All our hopes for a better world rest on young people." Consider that carefully. All our hopes depend on you. No pressure, right? Well, maybe it's just a bit of pressure, but the good kind of pressure. Today, as the world stands at the crossroads, we truly need your voice, your passion, your impatience, your clarity. And personally, as a diplomat from Europe, I promise we will keep listening to you. We will keep trying harder to get things right for a brighter future, for your future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Postal. That was truly an inspiring speech and a reminder that we need to remember as youth to be actively engaged and to pursue opportunities for cultural exchange, especially as our world is increasingly interconnected. So thank you so much for those words. Next, we'll be hearing from David J. Carroll. He currently serves as the director for the Los Angeles County Department of Youth Development. He has worked in many sectors, moving from the corporate sector to now serving mostly youth. He has received numerous accolades and is involved in several other organizations, especially including as a youth sports coach. We are very honored to have Mr. Carroll here today, and I now have the pleasure of inviting him up here to give this keynote conversation. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Let's give us a moment for the technology to get set up. Glad I don't weigh more. So, breathe in. By show of hands, how many is this your first time attending an international youth conference? Great, great, great. And then all the rest of you were here last year? Excellent, excellent. Nice to see some new faces as well as some familiar faces. All right, so we're halfway there. There is a video, so we can anticipate at least one more problem along the way. All right, thank you. First of all, good morning. Thank you for allowing me to be here today to represent the Department of Youth Development. My name is David Carroll. I'm the director of the Los Angeles County Department of Youth Development. My pronouns are he, him, and his. For those with visual challenges, I'm a light complected black man with curly hair and a beard, a little bit more gray than was here last year. Speaking on behalf of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors and myself, it's a true pleasure to be here with you today and for you to be here. We deeply appreciate the IYC team, the United Nations representatives, UCLA faculty for making this event possible. And to each of you, whether you're joining in person or online, thank you. Across history, and we can go to maybe not to the next slide, we know that no